Hello everyone. Thank you for joining today's session. Today we are going to talk about how do you create your own career roadmap. This is even more important if you are working in the IT industry where technology changes on a daily basis. If you are working in a project, you are working based on the project requirements. But you do not understand or get to see what is happening outside of your project. You may be working in your project, and particularly if it is a long term project, you would be working in that project the same age old technologies, legacy technologies for n number of years without upgrading your skills, without upgrading your technologies or relevance in the marketplace. And that is where it is very important for you to have a mentor or a coach who can guide you in the right direction. And particularly if you have the right manager who you are reporting to, then you can, with the help of the manager or supervisor, you can create your own career roadmap. That is why people say you get a coach, that is your manager, free of cost for the entire year. But there are many projects where project managers or leads, they do not bother to create a career roadmap for their own team members. And particularly if the project is a short-term project, then forget about it. Then the project lead or project manager, they are focused on the project deliverables rather than the associate aspirations or the career roadmap of individuals. And that is where you having the career roadmap for yourself for next 5 years, where you are relevant for next 5 to 10 years, it's very important. And that is where we are going to talk about how do you create your own career roadmap. I know this is a initial video and we'll also have subsequent videos to talk about different journeys. But today, let's try to deep dive and understand how do you go about creating a career roadmap for yourself if you are working in the IT industry. Let's deep dive. If you look at this, in today's session, we are going to cover on one concepts, then followed with what are the different ideas we have. I'm going to bring in the experience and knowledge from my expertise, what I have gathered last 20 years. And lastly, point number three, I'm also going to take you a couple of actions that I want you to go through. Before we start anything, I want to take your permission to talk about a little bit of myself. Do I have your permission, please? Thank you. My name is Girija Shankar, and I have spent 2 decades working in the IT industry. And I have gathered, I have walked length and breadth of the technologies in this IT industry for the last 20 years. And with my experience and expertise working in this field, I believe I should be able to give you some golden nuggets that you can use and create your own career roadmap. Please remember, technology changes on a daily basis. What I may say in terms of one technology that might not be relevant next 2 years down the line. However, I'm going to talk about the basic principles and the generic roles around it, but the technology part is relevant at this point of time in year 2023. Let's understand what are the concepts that we will be covering today. If you look at this, I have listed out, these are all the concepts. First of all, you need to understand, you need to do a self assessment, basically to understand yourself better, who you are, what is your skill set, what you want to do the best. These are all the different aspects you want to ask yourself where you do a self assessment. And this is where I'll take you through the examples, what I have listed out. Give me a second. Yes. So what is your end goal? What you wanted to do in your career? What is that end goal that you wanted to achieve? Particularly if you have joined as a fresher or if you are experienced mid-career professional, what is the end goal that you want to achieve? And what do you want the journey or roadmap to look like move from point A, that is where you currently stand, to point B, that is your end goal. And what is your current strength and weaknesses? What are the relevant skills for your future job? If your end goal is to be a project manager, what is the relevant skill set that is required for your future job versus what you currently have? And that is where you do the gap analysis. What you have today and what you want to have in future. And that difference becomes your gap, and you need to upskill in that gap area. And most importantly, your likes and dislikes. Many a times we get positioned ourselves in some of the projects that we don't like, because when we join a company, based on the business requirement, based on the project requirements, you are given some odd jobs. For example, you like to do coding, but many a times you'll be given testing projects. So you don't want to pursue your career in testing opportunity. Rather, you wanted to pursue your career in coding, in development, in support, in engineering line of things. So that is where the your likes and dislikes comes in. So you need to do a self-assessment to understand yourself better. What are your current skills and what is that you wanted to reach at? What is your end goal? And that is what you need to do the assessment at this point of time. The second part is, what are the potential future career options, potential career opportunities that you have? You need to identify them. And how do you identify that? What is there in the marketplace? So you need to understand. And I'm going to talk about, based on my experience, what are the different roles or career options that you might have. That we'll talk about it in step two. And then you need to start connecting with those people working in these professions and understand their perspectives. What is working well for them? What is not working? Are there any deficiencies? So that before you embark on your journey in your new career or your goal, you need to understand what are the different areas of improvement, what is working well for those working professionals, because you don't want to reinvent the wheel. That is the main intent here. Next, we'll talk about how do you strategize, because now point number one, you did a self assessment to understand where you currently stand. You also identified what are the potential career options that you have. Now you need to do A minus B, that is the gap analysis unit, right? And in this strategized part, you need to build an action plan based on the gap areas. For example, to my earlier example, if you are currently playing the role of technical analyst or technical lead, but you wanted to be a project manager, then you need to learn the skills of the project management skills. You need to learn people management skills. You need to learn task distribution skills. You need to learn how do you manage risk and issues, and what are the steps that you need to plug in the gap. So it means you need to go for PMP certification, you need to go for different kind of on the job training, and then you need to prioritize. For example, there are certain things that will take a longer time. For example, if you want to go for PMP certification, it usually takes time because you need to prepare for the exam. But prior to that, what you can do is you can appear for any of the internal examinations that your company or organization offers. You can align with one of the project manager or your friend who is already performing that role, and you try to understand or you try to learn from that person. And that is how you prioritize which one you have to take up first and which one you need to take up later. Till this time, hope I'm making myself clear. If you have any questions, feedback, or any clarifications, you can always put your questions below this video, and I will be very happy to answer those questions for you. The next comes, you need to start networking with people. And when I say you need to networking, you need to start doing network with people. What does it mean? It means if you are starting on a new career journey, unless you network with people, you will not understand, because this is a brand entirely new area, brand new area. Unless you start networking with people, you will not understand what lies ahead of you. Because again, to my earlier point, you don't want to reinvent the wheel because people would have already done that, been there and done that. You need to learn from that. That is where you are having access to the information source, and you it opens up further opportunities. Because when you start networking with those people, they will tell you, hey, these are all the opportunity area you can go and apply. Hope this is self-explanatory. I don't have to explain further, but again, if you have any questions, we can always discuss below this video. The next point comes is staying focused. How do you stay focused in your job? That is where you need to be little flexible, because when you are embarking on the journey of career, your future career roadmap, there may be obstacles for sure. And if there are obstacles on your way, you need to make those minor adjustments, not complete adjustment though, minor adjustment to reach your goal post. Your end goal should be always in your sight. There may be some detours or minor adjustments you need to do on an incremental basis, on a short term basis, on a mid term basis. But I think your long term goal or end term goal should be in sight, so that that should be driving your path, career path. And in order to make this easier, you need to find a mentor. And people say that your manager, if you are working in a project for a long time, for the entire year, manager can be your mentor or coach, that too free of cost. How many of you agree to this point? I'm sure you'd also agree to this. Next one, you need to take actions every day to stay closer to your goal. It's not that you set your goal and automatically you will get there. It's not like that. If you have set something for yourself, you need to start working on yourself. You start working on your systems. You need to start working on processes. You need to start working on yourself so that slowly, steadily, you get to reach your goal post. You need to take all those incremental or small term actions so that you stay closer to the goal post. This is what I wanted to say when you say staying focused. The last but not the least, you need to be a lifelong learner. And that is where I'm going to emphasize on the continual learning, continuous learning. And what I mean by that, if you really look at it, and particularly if you're working in the IT industry, technology changes on a daily basis. The technology upgrades that are happening on a daily basis. You need to keep yourself up to date with the respective technologies, otherwise you will fall behind the latest and greatest happening in the market. Industry trends, you need to be aware of. If you are working in the functional side, then you need to understand what is really happening in the retail industry, what is happening in the banking industry, what is happening in the insurance industry. Unless you keep yourself up to date, again, as I said, you would be obsolete. And no, none of us wanted to be outdated. And you need to, in order to keep yourself up to date, you need to start attending seminars and webinars. Now it has become a global place post pandemic, because sitting at home by attending webinars, we get the same information what you get to see on the other side of the world. I'm sure you will agree to this point. So it's a continuous learning process, and it's you need to be a lifelong learner. That is why you need to start ensuring that you are up to date in terms of your technologies, in terms of industry updates, as well as you need to start updating, or you need to start attending seminars or webinars in order to do that. So this is what uh, the concept part. This is what I wanted to talk about, as part of the concepts. Hope you understood this. And how do you actionize it, right? And in fact, when I talked about all these concepts, I have also talked about incremental actions. You can start implementing those actions, right, so that these concepts become a reality. Now, moving to the second step, where I am going to talk about what are the different career roadmap ideas that you have, and it's a very elaborative. Let's deep dive what is there in it. If you look at it broadly, there are three career paths I will talk about today. One is technical career path, another is management career path, third is functional or business career path. So these are all the three career paths that we have in general, particularly if you are working in the IT industry. Again, this is based on my experience, and as I mentioned, technology and things do change in IT industry time to time as things become digital. We see that there has been a revolutionary change that has come in, and this may change, but at this point of time, based on my experience working in the IT industry for 20 years, I've been saying this. So let's try to deep dive, understand what is there in the technical career path for us to choose from. As you see, there are multiple things. One is full stack engineering we have. Then we have non-full stack engineering, that is the traditional way of doing things. Then we have DevOps engineering. Then we have architectural line. Then we will also talk about what are the key technologies, latest and greatest technologies that are currently trending in the market. If you look at the full stack engineering, and this is how the career roadmap looks like. You start as a software engineer trainee, then you elevate yourself to software engineer, right? And then senior software engineer, then lead software engineer, then over a period of time become principal software engineer, and then chief software engineer. Particularly when you join in the junior levels, you will be in charge of your project, whereas as the your level goes up or your seniority goes up, you would be in charge for multiple projects and programs. And of course, you would also be sharing, particularly when you are a lead software engineer or principal software engineer or chief software engineer, you would also be taking trainings for multiple junior folks, as well as you would be sharing the tools, best practices, tricks of the trade with your fellow members within your community. This is all about full stack engineering. And as I said, you may have .NET, Microsoft full stack. That's where you have SQL, .NET, Angular, React, and all that microservices that comes in. Then you will have Java full stack, where Java microservices, Spring Boot, Kafka, and all those technologies do come in. We'll talk about the technologies a bit later, or we'll have a separate session to discuss on that. But today, in general, I wanted to cover what are the different career path looking like for you, so that you have at least you have a outlay of what is lying ahead for you, so that you can create a visual impression of what you wanted to be or who you wanted to become few years down the line. This is all about full stack engineer. Let me close this for now. Then I'll also talk about what is the non full stack engineer, and this is the traditional one. I think I should have talked about the traditional one earlier. So if you look at the traditional one, we have you start as a software engineer trainee, then you become software engineer, then technical lead, and these are all nothing but different legacy technologies. For example, it could be mainframe, it could be AS400, it could be plain and simple SQL, .NET, or core Java. This is where you learn a software engineer, become a software engineer, then you become a technical lead. But if you wanted to elevate yourself, then obviously you need to learn the concepts of you need to add other aspects to it. For example, you need to understand what is happening in the UI UX side of it. Then you need to understand you need to learn React, you need to learn Angular, you need to learn microservices. And as I said, technology changes on a day-to-day basis. So you need to keep yourself up to date. And the best career option would be, for you to upgrade yourself to the full stack engineer, because that is what the trend in the market that we get to see today. Point number three is the DevOps engineer. In today's world, uh, support and development, they coexist together, and that is there for a reason, so that uh, and this is where the site reliability engineer, reliability, resilience, all those concepts do come in. You want the same team to perform or doing operations to do engineering as well, and that is part of your DevOps. And this is where you have continuous integration, continuous deployment of code, releases going into production, and that is where you need this career line is very important. DevOps engineering, where you junior phase is being a DevOps engineer, then you become a senior DevOps engineer, then when you get elevated, you become a DevOps architect, senior DevOps architect, principal DevOps architect, and chief DevOps architect. As I said, when you are at an earlier stage, junior stage, you are in charge of one project, of your own project. But as the seniority goes up, you are in charge of multiple projects or people working with you, and that is where you train people, you share tools, best practices, idea, tricks of the trade with your junior fellows or junior team members. The next one is, if you have a flair towards technical acumen, that is where the architectural line comes in. um, so many a times I have seen people who are working in full stack or non full stack engineer. They start their career as a developer, senior developer, then they become designer, and they move on to the architecture or a architect. They take up the role of an architect, right? So the lowest level is being an architect. Then you become a senior architect, principal architect, and chief architect. So as I said, many people do not start their career as an architect. Rather, they take the journey of full stack engineer and non full stack engineer before they onboard in the journey of architectural capabilities. Since we are talking about all these different roles, I also thought of calling out all the key, and these are all the latest technologies that you should be aware of, that I thought of calling it out here. So if I have to share all the latest technologies that are happening in today's world, cloud-based technologies, that is where you have Microsoft, Azure, AWS, and GCP comes in. You have data part of it. That's where big data, Hadoop, and all that comes in. We have the cyber security element. Then we have artificial intelligence and machine learning, AI, ML part. And this is one area where the generative AI is bringing a revolutionary change since November last year. Particularly the way ChatGPT has come in, Microsoft has launched their own generative AI, Google has launched their own generative AI. So this is going to be the trend in the market, continue to be the trend in the market. User experience, this is where the UX part comes in, where Angular, React, and all those technologies do come in. Then you have the internet IoT, all those IoT devices we plant in our manufacturing plants and for day-to-day appliances. Then you have blockchain and other emerging technologies, for example, generative AI. AI, it comes under AI ML, but I just thought of having a special mention of that because the way it has taken the world in a revolutionary manner, it's definitely worth mention. And I think more and more people will move into this generative AI at least the next few months and few quarters. As ChatGPT has taken the center stage, people are learning prompt engineering. And this is what I wanted to talk about. And this at least gives an idea of the technologies, the latest and greatest technologies, what are available in the market. And this is where I uh, um, educate, or rather, I advise my team members to get themselves trained at least in one of those technologies. And by doing that, you stay relevant in the marketplace for another 10 years. All right. So this is all about technical career path, or call that as a TCP. However, before we move on to the management career path, I just wanted to say a disclaimer. Many people, they move from over a period of time technical career path to management career path, right? There are people who start their career path as managers right from day one, particularly. if you are joining at a senior level. But however, many I have seen many people like me who have moved from technical career path to management career path as the seniority, uh, right, as we become more senior, right. And of course, we cannot move into the management career path unless we learn the basic project management concepts, program management concepts, and many other concepts I'm going to deep dive now. But this is just a thought of saying that I have seen very few percentage, 30% of people who start as a manager, but many software engineers or developers, senior developers or leads, tech leads, they start their career path in technical career path, and then they adopt, or rather, they are asked to take up the management career path as well, and many they do, based on their career aspirations as well. So let's try to deep dive to understand what is there in the management career path, or MCP. So, for example, if you look at the delivery management is such a wide function, where okay, let me take a step back and talk about it. When you get a customer engagement, right, we in a customer engagement we may have different kinds of projects. We may have support project, we may have development project, we may have testing project, then we have infrastructure support project, then you may have BPO kind of projects, many kind of projects you may have, right. So, and you may have different project managers managing those projects, but what really happens is, who manages the entire engagement, who manages the entire project delivery, all these projects, all support, development, testing, and everything put together, and that is where the delivery management comes in. This is nothing but managing the entire engagement, and these are all the roles I have seen. At junior we start with service manager, then we become the delivery manager. uh, it becomes a service delivery manager, senior service delivery manager, service delivery director, and senior service delivery director. So they are in charge of the entire engagement, not only a specific project. Then comes what is the traditional project management career path. If you look at it, people start as a PMO analyst or coordinator. I have seen very rarely people start at this level, PMO analyst or coordinator, particularly those who are fresh MBA grads, or who are non-technical, from non-technical background. They start with as a PMO analyst or coordinator, and they become project manager. As I also said, there are people from technical career path also, they embark on this journey. They I think, one of the arrow should from technical career path should come to the project manager line as well. Then project manager becomes senior project manager, program director, and senior program director. As I said, at a junior level, you are in charge of one project or two projects, or based on the size of the project. But as the seniority goes up, you are in charge of multiple projects and programs across. So this is all about traditional project management, where the delivery happens more in a waterfall model, development, testing, support, and all. But we will also have another track called product management and agile. We'll talk about that as well. But this is all about traditional project management career path. Then comes the service management, right? Service management, it is applicable for all the operations engagement, particularly if you are providing support services, be it application support services or infrastructure support services. So this is important, where you provide the roles such as incident manager, problem manager, change manager, knowledge manager, continuous service improvement, CSI manager, right? So these are all the different roles that are involved in the service management function. Similarly, the transformation management, where you are embarking on transforming something, taking the customer from point A to point B, and as part of that, you may be running multiple projects and programs. And this is how it starts. You start as a transformation manager. When seniority goes up, then you become senior transformation manager. Then rolls up to transformation director. Then further roles up to senior transformation director. Similarly, engineering management. So this is something where I have seen, particularly if you are working in the full stack engineer, right, where the traditional PMs, they can perform the role of PM, but however, it would be more efficient or effective, I would say, rather, particularly if people are from the engineering management background, particularly if they have the exposure to the latest and greatest that are happening in the particularly engineering topic or engineering side of things. And this is how the career graph looks like. Engineering manager becomes senior engineer manager, director, portfolio director, and then engagement delivery partner. This is how the role looks like for the engineering management. And as part of the product management, we have, uh, I mean, particularly this is important because all the above ones are not for enterprise product, but particularly, you would have seen nowadays more and more companies are moving to the packaged implementation, product implementation, where you don't have to build a software from scratch. You just need to, there will be different types of enterprise products available, and you just need to pick and choose which enterprise product which suits to your business needs. And that is where you just need to pick up those enterprise product and start making use of that. And that for building of those products, and this is where the product management comes in. Product manager, then you have senior product manager, principal project manager, and product strategy. I am sure this should have been principal product manager. I'm sure. Yeah, this is. Let me see. I cannot fix it here. I think this needs to be corrected. It should be principal product manager. Okay. Then we have another career path called agile, right? Because nowadays more and more projects are moving from waterfall to agile, and that is where the scrum master and product owner comes into picture. Agilist, senior agilist are more of a scrum master. Then when the seniority level goes up, then they become lead agilist, the product agilist, and chief agilist, right? And this is where the product ownership roles and responsibilities of the product ownership also comes in at a senior level. At a junior level, it's a role of responsibilities of more of a scrum master. So these are all the different career maps or career paths you have for management line. And then you have the business career path, particularly if you are interested in your functional domain side of things. This is how you should pursue. So this is a business analyst. You start as a more as a MBA fresh graduates. They start their journey more as a business or functional analyst in some of the domains. It can be finance, it can be credit card, it can be banking, it can be retail, it can be consumer goods, it can be healthcare. Then as the seniority level goes up, they become senior business analyst and then lead business analyst. And there is another career path. If you are particularly working in the business development career path, then you start as a business BD analyst. Many a times I have seen the most of the MBA graduates, they take up the role of a BD analyst. Then, as the seniority level goes up, they become the BD lead and the BD manager. This is also another career path I have seen. Not many takers, but this is career path that exists, particularly in the business career path line. The most important part, right, while we discussed the technical career path, management career path, and business career path, one important aspect I wanted to cover is whichever the career path you do, these are all the three basic aspects you need to learn. One is the technical. If you are working in the technical career path, you need to understand how the domain works, how the functionality of the application is. Because without understanding the functionality or the domain part, if you keep working as a robot in the backend, does not really make any sense, because you have the only complete, you do have the half picture of what is going on. So you need to understand the complete picture by understanding what is happening in the functional side of things, right? If something comes to you as a project requirement, hey, you need to build this couple of programs in C, C++, then you need to understand, hey, why customer has given this requirement to you? What is the actual business need? So if you are working in technical, you need to understand functional, and if you are working in functional more as a business analyst, you need to understand how the technical. You don't have to get into the technical nitty gritties, but you need to have a bigger picture of how the technical architecture looks like. So you get to see what is the end-to-end view of your application or the product. The next second part is the P&L, profit and loss management. Many a times we work as a 10 years, 15 years, work in the technical field or functional field. But we don't understand, hey, how a project runs. What is the revenue of a project is? What is the margin of a project is? How many resources are working? Is the project running on loss? Right? Are we making profit in this project? Right? Are there any business development opportunities that we have? Right? Can we pitch for another project in the same customer landscape based on this? So we don't have exposure to that. That is where it is very important, to have some exposure to the profit and loss management side of it, because that is where you become the complete, all-rounded, and in my colloquial terms, you become a full stack professional. So that you don't become only a technical guy or management guy or business guy, but you become all three of them. While your major specialty is one area, but you also understand how the other areas work. Last but not the least, people management. You are managing people. You are working with people. If it's in an IT industry, you are working with people on a day-to-day basis. You need to understand, you need to manage their career aspirations, you need to manage their goals, you need to do their performance evaluation, you need to manage their expectations, you need to do the goal setting periodically, you need to have review meetings with them, and most importantly, you need to mentor them, you need to coach them, because technologies are changing very fast, very rapidly, particularly if you are working in the IT sector. And it is very important for you to create a career roadmap for your team members, so that they become your students and you become their. So people management is important. So that is what I meant by be a full stack professional. Right. These are all the career maps, career paths. I had, based on my understanding, experience working for the past 20 years. The last, what I'm going to cover is the action, right? And the action is nothing but I run my weekend webinars on different aspects of career acceleration, and it is every Saturday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. IST. I would request you to join my webinar. Webinar link is here, and I'm also going to provide the webinar link in the description below this video. And also, I would request you to join my Facebook community, where I discuss all the aspects of how do you accelerate your career, how do you build your career roadmap, what are the latest technology trends that are going on, and how do you network, and all those aspects. And I share values based on my experience and expertise, what I have gathered for the past 20 years. Hope this session was useful, and if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please do comment below this video. And for today, this is what I wanted to cover, and I'm sure there is another part of this video where I'm going to cover, go in little more detail, what are the technical aspects we have, what are the technologies we have, so that our IT professionals can get benefited with that. But that's for a different day. So thank you for your time today, and hope the information said is useful and it is of value to you. Please do provide feedback and suggestions to make this video, make this session and discussions a better one in future. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.